Okay, so how have we applied organizing the main logic in our project? So we followed mainly domain model pattern, so to organize the main logic. So we have looking for trying to have the business logic in the domain, in the business in the domain classes. In our case, is a course execution, quiz, question. And then on top of it, have a scene layer of services. So we have a service layer. And the way to see if we were able to follow it is we can find that our classes, for instance, this is the quiz class, and the quiz class have we define the business logic associated with to check whether we can create the quiz or not. Okay, if the data, so if it is a consistent entity inside this class, for instance, with these check questions, and we implement the method. So we don't have what it's called, and you have methods that check the semantics of a class. So we don't have an anemic domain model, so it's a rich domain model. For instance, in question, we find a lot of methods that, so we try that all the logic is here. And in the service layer, for instance, if I go to the quiz service, we'll find that we have services that are scene services. Basically, what they do is just they receive the information. In this case, they first they do a find, so and then they convert data and they return this data. And of course, we are associating the transactional behavior to the service layer, and this depends a little bit then on what you are implementing. Okay, so you have in this case what you are doing is something similar. So you have a comparator, you get the data, and basically, so in this case, what are you doing? Well, you are sorting, and sorting probably is not something that is relevant from the point of view of the business logic, and is something that you can have here in the service. Of course, some are a bit more complex. Sometimes the reason because of that is because you need to do the save, and because of that sometimes it's more difficult, a little bit more difficult. You need to save in the repository, and this should be done inside the service. Is a bit more difficult that occurs inside the business class, so the domain class. It makes it a little bit more different. So this service, maybe you can try to refactor it to see if part of these can be inside of inside of inside of the domain class. Okay, I'm creating a quiz, but the problem is that, look, we need to use this question repository to access the question. So we are doing a little bit of the things here. So we try that actually this is a scene. This is a bit large as well. So look, we are creating updating a quiz, but actually here we get the quiz and we are changing it here. Okay, maybe this could move as well inside the class. So from the architectural point of view, you define this and you try to follow these rules that you have a rich domain model and scene services. Sometimes it's more difficult, not because of the technology. In this case, we are using a GPA and we are using these repositories, and sometimes it's a bit more difficult, but I think that mainly we have or we are going towards rich domain models. For instance, some services are for instance, the question service, we'll see that they are quite very thin, okay, services, right? So when you write software, what do? You define your architecture. So, and in this case, we are defining architecture based on these enterprise patterns, architectural patterns. And then you start basically following these rules. And of course, then you need to fight a little bit with the technology you are using. That's one of the problems when you do things, is that sometimes the technology doesn't allow you to have a very pure model, but yes, you try to find what is the best way to use the technology in order that you have a clean model. And in our project, I think mainly it's what we have done. So you have domain model, pattern, and scene service layer. Okay, good.